Let's look at OBS here. Streaming, it says stop streaming, right? Huh? Okay. So, let's do that. And then let's look at our little window capture here, right? Put that back to,
Right now, I'm going down.
This thread, right? There's this Facebook thread with my soon-to-be former mother-in-law who I had an excellent relationship with until things went super sideways with my wife pretty much overnight over this stupid fucking nothing fight that destroyed my life, sent me to the psych ward. She took my son, getting divorced, whatever. But if somebody's that capricious and not willing to divorce you over some fucking bullshit, is that really a loss? I don't know. I mean, I'm like a deep branch with roots below and branches above, and I got things going on, right? So, are we still streaming? Yeah, we're still hitting appropriate amount of kilobytes per second. So let's just step through this fucking dumpster fire of a thread, right? And let's just start here.
Going down.
Come on, motherfucker. I hate Facebook's thing so much. Here we go. Okay. Here's the thread. Close that. I hate computers. Cows don't need feature requests. Pigs don't have tickets. So everyone asks me how I'm doing right now. This is how I'm doing right now, just a few days out of the hospital. Oh.
I got my pizza rolls already. Going down. I'm playing Fortnite, dude. I got my pizza rolls already. I got a new girlfriend. Shit is amazing right now. I'm seeing the gold going down. Dude, I'm playing Fortnite, dude. I got my pizza rolls already. I got a new girlfriend. Shit is amazing right now. I'm seeing the gold going down.
Kimberly was somebody who I was never like super close with, but we were colleagues. We had a lot of work experience together at Excelsior in the beginning of Pierceport, Washington State, right? So she said, it's time for me to unfriend you on Facebook. The stuff that you post is not cool. Now, if I was to do that, I have to mute the window capture, but keep the video capture device, right? We still have the video capture. Oh, wait. Oh, we're gonna fucking put that order, move to top. Oh, we didn't even have my face here, right? Okay, cool. So, that's the fun part about streaming, right? And then we can mute that display capture right there. We can just talk about me, right? So, like, I did not want a girlfriend instead of a wife. There was this woman who I met at a soup kitchen, right? She was 19 years old, fresh and shiny and new in the world. And just moved to Spokane out of the dry shitties because she just wanted to get the fuck out of the dry shitties, right? She was a very attractive woman, but I could just tell that she was just super young and super whatever. Oh, what's up, Herman? How you doing, homie? Hey, I'm talking about like weird shit going on in my divorce in this Facebook thread with my soon-to-be mother-in-law. I'm trying to like step through it because I'm starting to realize that the problem with textual communication back and forth and people who are not like really engaging back and forth, and a real big problem with me being an autistic person and a sensory person. I even do this with Catrina, and Catrina and I are aligned on that order better than anybody else ever has been. We're starting to figure it out, but like, we know Jokes just bought a ball gag at a sex shop, not for freaky sex purposes, but because she can't get me to shut the fuck up. And she's like, I need you to shut the fuck up when you're in my 400 square foot apartment. I just need some silence. And sure, sweet, great. What's funny is that my soon-to-be ex-wife and I would have the same sorts of things that would cause fights, not because of a character defect of my soon-to-be ex-wife, but because my soon-to-be ex-wife, while being neurodiverse and having their own sensory and ADHD and OCD, type issues or whatever, they are not autistic and I am, right? And that does not mean that I am better or worse or more healthy or less healthy than them. Like, neurodiversity is a paradigm, man. I mean, I'm disabled. There's some things I'm super good at. There's some things I'm super bad at. In behavioral health, they call it like strengths-based type methodologies, right? I just got out of a 34-day inpatient psychiatric stay. You see what I'm doing right here is they prescribe me 2 grams a day of motherfucking Depakote, right? And I'm in 12-step abstinence-based recovery. But like, check it out, dude. This little fucking weed pen I bought the other day, that was $50, right? And it does a lot better of a job of making me calm down and shut the fuck up and not be problematic for other people in a shared space and sensory. Because, like, my baseline when I don't have this is just too much, which is why the beginning of me having rampant raging substance abuse disorder where I was a homeless meth addict was because I didn't really become a cool guy or a popular guy until I smoked so much marijuana that I was permanently fucking blazed and stoned all day, every day, right? And it's funny that now that I've gone through 12-step, like, I got thrown out of my home group meeting where they acted like I'd relapsed on meth and was destroying my life because I was in the middle of a trauma response. Anybody who's read Trauma Keeps the Score knows that when it doesn't matter how much time and healing and therapy have passed, when a person who's experienced substantial, complex traumas are in their trauma space and they're activated, you cannot access new brain. Old brain is in control, right? And the thing is with me, old brain was subject to a lot of violence, right? So I would get really loud and have threat displays, and I would like look really scary. But the thing is, I've also gone to a fuckload of therapy, right? So when I realize that I'm scaring other people, what I do is I'm just like, look, man, we're really not fucking getting along. You're kind of causing me some sensory overload. You're pissing me off. If I'm at their place, I'm like, I'm gonna just head out right now for the sake of our friendship. I think we should discuss this later on. Maybe let some time pass, whatever. Maybe have a third person there to kind of help mediate that, right? Um, but that didn't work with my spouse when we were in couples counseling, not because she's a bad person. Taylor Hawking is. God, I never would have put up with half of her fucking psycho bullshit if she was not one of the most amazing fucking human beings in the entire motherfucking universe. She's the mother of my child. We got married in a soup kitchen that we met at, and I literally would have been dead in a motherfucking gutter if she had not sat down next to me and cared about me and loved me when nobody else would do that. No matter how many churches I went to, no matter how many people would come up to me, hand me a Bible tract, she believed in me and nobody else fucking would, right? And the thing is, like, she wanted this, she wanted me around in her life because nobody, I don't think that she ever could have been as real with anybody else she ever was with me, because nobody was ever real like I was with her before. Because shit, when you got nothing to lose, you're a homeless drug addict and you say shit like, I've told you, little girl, I am not your fucking project, man. I can't help but commit one of the fucking 10 deadly sins of coveting a man's wife every time you fucking sit here. I know that you're married. I don't want to like have impure thoughts about you. Can you please just go the fuck away and forget that I exist? Just deepen our friendship. There's a time where she brought me to fucking her birthday party, and the only other person at her birthday party was Spencer, who was her ex-husband, who I actually really liked and really respected. And I did not mean to steal his wife. It happened purely on accident. And it was kind of shitty. And at the same time, it made sense because they were two kids who got together at 17 and got married at 18, and they didn't know how to do life together because they tried to be adults and too successful and too whatever too soon. Me, man, I fucked my entire life was a motherfucking shit show. My body count was ridiculous. I was drinking, drugging, snorting, smoking, fucking, couldn't keep a job. I was a motherfucking fuck up, right? But I was one of those ones that had grit, and I was good because my survival mechanisms, because I was such a fuck up, enabled me to do these things that, oh, people would put up with the fact that I was an alcoholic and a psycho person and some bullshit and insane and unpleasant and a bad. I was a bad fucking dude for a lot. I was a bad motherfucking dude. There was a time with my first wife where I was a domestic violence abuser and I would spend all of the fucking rent money or the mortgage money at the bar, and the power would get cut off because I was so busy fucking doing cocaine with the neighbors that I didn't pay the fucking power bill, dude. Like, I was that guy, right? But I never was that guy for Taylor. Taylor never experienced the kind of bullshit that Courtney and I did. You know, growing up fucked up, adverse childhood experience, broke, like, not just broke, but like your parents are fucking abusive and like, well, I mean, Taylor just, so I'm not trying to disown her. She had trauma as fuck too. I mean, motherfucking Paula, her stepmother, is the reason that she's still got a long bit of fucking recovery work to do. Relational trauma is a bitch, and you know what? It doesn't matter how much you love somebody, how much you worship them, how many times you're willing to forgive them, and everything. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try to be a romantic couple and love each other, there's 10,000 ways to love a person, man. 10,000 ways. And I love Taylor 10,000 ways, but not because she was a bad woman or crazy or broken or not deserving of a million things more than I could ever give to her, right? But not because of that. She deserves so much better than me. I think I said one time, you know, when she had decided that she wanted to divorce Spencer and she wanted me to come to Spokane, I'm like, girl. And she's like, well, if I'm going to date somebody, I expect I need to get, you know, moving towards marriage. I don't want to be wasting time. I'm like, girl, you don't want that with me. I'm the sort of older guy that you get an IUD and you do a bunch of fucking freaky sex and you smoke some fucking weed and maybe you go jump off a fucking few cliffs with, and you have a good old time. You just live the best that you can and learn how to become all the good parts of being really old with none of the trauma. And then someday when I don't make you happy anymore and you get tired of me, because everybody gets tired of me because the December sun is setting, you may tire of me because our December sun is setting because I'm not who I used to be. Well, shit. People tired of me for the same reason they're drawn to me. That's been my whole life. Shit. Katrina might someday tire of me for the same things as drew to me. That's my whole life. I'm a rare mutant. I'm not normal. That's why I make $250,000 a year and I don't have any friends and my phone never rings. I mean, or I have a million friends, but they're all like internet friends or colloquial or casual or contextual or related to like the things that I do or whatever. But relationally, I have a lot of trauma and I've been very disconnected, you know, in many ways throughout my life because I'm not just autistic. I'm really fucking autistic, bro. Huh, let's just one time here. Let's go back to display capture. We're gonna turn that on. Uh. I Whoa, shit. I kind of wish I had a little. And everybody who's like, "Oh no, you're a drug addict. You have a weed pen." I have a prescription for Adderall, for Klonopin, for Depakote, for Safras. I have a million different pills I'm supposed to be taking right now to keep me okay. And you know what? $50 on a weed pen and some video games with Katrina, and there's nothing that anybody could do to me that would make me go back to the psych ward right now. What was I fucking looking for? I was looking for fucking something, right? Uh, uh. Oh shit, whatever. We'll find another thread later. I'm always just rambling. Stuff I post is uncool. What is so uncool?
what it is that you think I'm posting on Facebook, aside from my struggle and the fact that I didn't relapse, I didn't get loaded, and I'm getting divorced, and it sucks I'm getting divorced. But dude, like, just the same way that you and Jim are cool about, your kids, my spouse is not. And my girlfriend, like, I'm right now, I earn $250,000 a year, but I'm literally flat broke. My bank account is overdrawn. Locks are changed on my house. I can't get into my house. I have my car, but I'm 2 months behind on my mortgage. I'm 2 months behind on my car payment. I'm broke. I had to pull all my money out of my 401k, but the 401k check got mailed to the house that I don't have keys to because Taylor changed the locks to my house. And I don't have the money to pay a locksmith to get into the house. I got sent to the psych ward. For what exactly? I got sent to the psych ward because some people called because they thought I was erratic or dangerous or whatever. And then
To some dude say weirdo shit that I
tried to
said
run me
I'd
over
take
with his
out like
car,
Liam
and I kicked his
Neeson.
car, and like we could all read, the body keeps the score and say, oh, when trauma occurs, new brain cannot be accessed. It's only old brain that can be accessed because we're in survival mode, right? Like we know that as, peer supports and clinical people and my therapist and my therapist's wife, we all know that. But then, I endure some trauma and people expect me to act normal. And here I am. The only reason I'm on the other side of it and nobody can do anything that sends me to the fucking psych ward again is because Catrina loves me and appreciates me and is letting me stay at her place, is trying to build a life with me. And she is more my partner. And we've not even been together 2 months, man. And she's more my partner. I've been married for 11 years of the 38 years I've been alive. I've been in committed relationships for 16 years of those 38 years. And the last 2 months, Catrina and I had only been dating for 2 weeks when I got sent to fucking Providence, man. And you know what? She came to visit me 2-4 times a week, got me snacks, called me on the phone every day. That I wasn't in seclusion and isolation because they don't let you talk on the phone or manage your finances in seclusion and isolation, right? The only help that I got from an inpatient hospitalization was watching television, coloring, being put on Depakote and gaining 10 pounds. And here I am outside of the hospital and I'm not taking Depakote, but I have less stress because all I have to worry about is just sitting here in her apartment and I can't go to work, anything. I can't get a lawyer to represent me in family law because I'm a crazy person. I tried for like 150 hours. Nobody would do it. Like, why do you want to unfriend me on Facebook? Because my pain is making you uncomfortable, friend. Maybe my pain is not because I'm a bad guy doing bad things. Maybe my pain is just because the same thing that led to you and I being peer supports in Washington State in the first place, despite my rich, heterosexual, cishet, white male tech bro privilege in $1 million house with a $50,000 car, I still can just get fucking thrown under the bus and gooned up and sent to the hospital. And my life is burnt to the ground. I have to start all over again, but I'm really good at starting all over again. And I'm happy and I'm in love. And I'm sorry that makes people uncomfortable, but I ain't no spring chicken, dude. And my life has been so much trauma, drama, grief, and bullshit that I don't need to wait a socially acceptable amount of time to start dating again to maybe try to commit to somebody who I met, like Catrina and I weren't trying to be with each other when we first were hanging out. It's just sometimes your life can change in an instant and the whole trajectory of your life could change with just one person. And I'm just trying to make hay while the sun's high in the sky. I'm just trying to be a good man. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to keep my job and keep my son and not have to declare bankruptcy, but I'm probably going to have to declare bankruptcy to stay in my home. Not because I am financially irresponsible, but because Taylor and Amber calling the crisis line on me got me sent to the psych ward, and the caseworker would not do the disability paperwork through my work. And I can only pull 15 grand out of my 401k because the market just took a fucking shit, even though I had like almost $70,000 in there not even 6 months ago. So, do you want to hang out? Do you want to kick it sometime? I've been trying to hang out with Jim, but he's just too busy, man. I don't know what do you want from me that I could do? What am I not doing that like I'm open to suggestions, friend.
Oof. And this right here, it's probably gonna be, Marsha, Marsha. Marsha is a strong woman in recovery in Pierceport in Washington State. Marsha is somebody who has seen me showing up with 90 days or 120 days clean, working a job at fucking Zips, or just starting my job as a Pierceport Excelsior. She's seen me grow into a man who is a good, strong man. And she's seen my son grow up with me. And Taylor was in grad school and then working 4 10s. So every time I went to an NA meeting, my home group, I went there every week for the longest time. I had my son with me. And so she saw me as a mother who had lost her kids. It's part of her story. Sorry if I told part of your story, Marsha. I'm just getting to the fucking, like, the grit of this, dude. Like, you and I, we saw things and we had been through things and we knew. And you saw me as not just a man in recovery, but a good father. You know how I was with my son, how attentive I was, how good I took care of him, right? Sarah and I, God, for the 5 years that Sarah and I were in each other's life, I think that she was my nemesis for 4.8 of them, dude. Now, when I say that, not in the sense of I didn't have the utmost respect, it was kind of like a weird kind of character dynamic where it's like, dude, every time that you can come at me in a way where you're not just trying to like steamroll the fuck over me because you're used to having to deal with toxic male bullshit, and having to take charge in situations in a capitally constrained and very difficult area, like, with what was the five brothers or whatever, you know, like, Jesus fuck, dude. Like, one of the people who I love and respect and appreciate the most in the world, but you ground my motherfucking gears harder than almost anyone else in my life when I was in recovery and working in my 5 year behavioral health career, where I threw myself into it the same way that a drug addict throws into drugs. Because even though I was making motherfucking peanuts, dude, made $12.50 an hour, Taylor would yell at me for getting fucking lattes or buying a bag of fucking coffee, right? Like, not because she was like a bad, mean, shrill person, but because our money was that fucking tight. Because that she was working initially when we first got together, part time, putting herself through college. She'd never had more than $6,300 in student loans. She didn't come from money. She just worked her fucking tits off to be like 375 years old, my 38-year-old high performance job type anxiety and responsibility. And she was like motherfucking 14 because she's a mutant. Same way I'm a mutant, but mutants are good. You get a fucking superpower and you get a redemption arc, and then tragic things happen, and it's cooler to be a fucking mutant than a normal person, right? Like, even though Kevin Spacey got canceled, 508, or sorry, American Beauty, is there anything worse than being ordinary? You think I'm beautiful? You don't think I'm ordinary? Nothing worse than being ordinary, right? Oh no, dude, no. Taylor and I, I don't think that I've loved a lot of women because I've also had toxic masculinity and trauma, and my best efforts failing because of being worn fucked up caused me to love and lose a lot of women, man. And like honky tonk blues and Hank songs and like something Katrina's been saying about me lately is I've been like a lyric. She never was into music the same way that I was, because for her it was like something that she absorbed in a sensory way, and she's a really sensory like artist and perceives all these different like things. And I had the opposite thing where I was sensory seeking, and the lyrical content was like poetry, and I just would write and I would write and I would write, and I spent all these. I was on the internet because nobody wanted to be with me in person. That's why I'm so fucking far at the end of the bell curve, fucks up and traumatizes. I'm from the fucking internet, homie. From the fucking internet. I'm from the motherfucking internet. And that means that the ways that people interact in person is very different than the ways that people interact on the internet. But like Tracy is going to go to me later about how terrible I am. The CPS thing was closed as unfounded, right? So like I am right now this second. I'm not just a man going through a divorce because people get divorced and divorce sucks, or because I was an abuser, or because I was shitty, or because I didn't go to therapy. I went to therapy and I actually threw 10 million% of my blood, sweat, tears, and my time, to the point that so many of my relationship was strained with Taylor and Israel that I was absent because I threw myself into Excelsior because I saw the value of the work. Because if I didn't experience that healing, I would have never been able to have done the things that got Taylor this thing, even though relationally we still were traumatized. Because I'm relationally traumatized. That she is too, but not as bad as me. It's just it's just a tale of somebody who's really fucked up, getting with the best intentions and doing all the work and doing the right things and trying, just not being able to maintain an outcome that is acceptable and satisfactory for somebody else, plus the whole autism thing. But the autism thing wasn't as big of a deal in the beginning. It did get so later on when Israel is obviously autistic, and then his school doesn't accommodate his autism, but I had to advocate for autistic kids at Excelsior for IEPs, 504s, and the thing is about it's not just about behavioral health services and programs and clinical supports and money and what you can be reimbursed from Medicaid and population health. And I did a whole fucking degree. I did a whole fucking health service administration degree because I thought I'd help my career at Excelsior. So when COVID hit, I was working 100 hours a motherfucking week trying to get Excelsior to survive this fucking crisis. And I was still in school in healthcare administration classes, learning about basically hospital systems and continuum of care from some incredible faculty. But like, I was working under 20 hours a week because work has always been my survival mechanism. I can survive that way. And that furtherly relationally traumatized my wife and I. Do I have more slides here? Let's hit escape. Let's just do our fucking deep dive, our retrospective, right? In this, I remember I did my internship at Rising Strong. It was crazy. The internship was right around the time that Taylor and I had was that our 4th wedding anniversary? My internship at Eastern, the health informatics program. I needed to do an internship to, like, it was, God, that program was so fucked up. Anyways, no greater threat to the critics and the cynics, the fearmongers, than those of us who are willing to fall because we learn how to rise. With skin knees and bruised hearts, we choose owning our stories of struggle over hiding, over hustling, over pretending. We deny our stories, they define us. When we run from struggle, we are never free. So you turn toward truth and look it in the eye will not be characters, stories, villains, victims, not even heroes. Preach it, Brene. We are the authors of our lives. We write our own daring endings. Craft love from heartbreak. Oh, that's ironic. Compassion from shame. Grace from disappointment. Courage from failure. Showing up is our power. I am able to show up anytime for anybody ever. And that's why the people who know me for having shown up like that for them would step in front of traffic for me. It's just really hard to get to know me that way because you have to be courageous or authentic or just, obviously in need enough that I do those things for you. Story is our way home. I love in the first Brene Brown TED Talk where she says, stories are just data points for the soul. I think that there's been a definite shift in the world in which we live, where we have become more concerned over data than stories, ergo vis-a-vis accordingly removing the soul from things. But my story that everyone was telling me, that's why I got thrown in a psych hospital. That's why even though I had strong 12-step bias against weed pens, when it was this or Depakote and all these antipsychotics, and I'm in a new relationship, and I know Depakote makes it to where I'm incapable of performing sexually, versus spending $50 on a fucking weed pen at a vape store that's legal in Washington State, and I can attend any outpatient appointments. I can attend med management. I could get in therapy. I could go to who wants to do peer support, dude? Who wants to fucking help me out with my shit, dude? Like, yeah, I might be brokenhearted right now and going through some fucking trauma and bullshit and whatever, but like, who wants to show up? Because I show up for people, and that's why I have some power or whatever, right? But like, ooh, just because I'm angry, so I mean, I'm striving into a flaw in character. That was one of my best assertions I ever learned in therapy with Olin J. Bittner, even though I later on fired him for being a fucking douchebag and discriminating against me for being autistic and just not fucking accepting influence from me and violating the sanctity of the safe space, right? You know, like, come on, homie. Like, when I tell you that, my closing session with him, I literally said, okay, so I'm on the clock with you, right? And I set this up. I had to use OBS to fucking rip them to download them beforehand, right? To make sure that there was no problem in the office. But I was already a baller as fuck at, like, let's say at HashiCorp on a scale of 1 to 10, I could be like a 6.5 or a 7 some days, like fucking at Excelsior on the scale of 1 to 10, I was like a 10 trillion because it was all just motherfucking simple shit that if they just paid, bothered to understand and learn, that every other business that is not fucking like nonprofit that's capital constrained and nobody will listen to anybody. Nobody else knows how to do anything because nobody wants to work there because it pays motherfucking peanuts. And then people who have only been paid peanuts and managed to get by on duct tape and zip tie, shoestring, in a fucking can with a piece of string tied to another can, get millions of dollars of that. Yeah, that does not work super well. Just like when my ex-wife and I never had more than $1,000. I remember a time when we were so fucking broke that, like, we had just both gotten paid. She was working at Spirit Halloween as a manager. We were living in this apartment and had a 4-month-old. I was waving a sign outside of Spirit Halloween, I think, dancing in Darth Vader costume. That would have been 2004. Fuck, my life is weird, right? I remember a time when we managed to get 2 Arby's roast beef sandwiches for $5. We had $5 to buy some weed, and we had diapers. And there was enough baby food things because he wasn't into solid food yet, and he was past formula, but like the little like Gerber fucking things or whatever, right? So we had a fuckload of those because we got those from the food bank. Like we went back that night, we put the kid to bed, we smoked our $5 of fucking weed, and we made love, and it's pretty good, man. It's pretty fucking good. And despite growing up fucked up, we loved each other and we tried, we did our best. And it wasn't until I became an alcoholic because I was ashamed to come home to her every day and because I was failing so bad at work because I just didn't know what I was doing. I got in over my head. And I was ashamed, so I drank. I drank. I was ashamed, so I drank. I met some amazing people in Fresno, California. I'm never going to forget. But that's where it really got bad. And she left me, and she should have. When I was back in Spokane, I was homeless for 5 years on the streets, smoked out on meth. I didn't steal things, I didn't commit crimes, I didn't sell drugs. I just tried to exist on the streets. I wouldn't lie, I wouldn't panhandle, I wouldn't be like, God bless, I'm hungry, anything helps. I had to be like a jester, I had to be like a vagabond, I had to be an asshole, but like in a friendly way, like an entertainer. Like I'd be cross classed as a bard on a fucking D&D character sheet, dude. I'd go up to people and entertain and be like, look, man, I really need some fucking methamphetamines and malt liquor in my life. So like, you punch me in the dick for $20. I'll recite a poem. I'll go like, be this grubby homeless guy who like hits on this dude's wife and uses a pickup line that makes him like hit me or like make me have to run away or something. And people were like, what the fuck? And it wasn't coming up on more than enough money to buy the next bottle of fucking booze I was worried about. The moments that really fucking mattered was when somebody would sit and listen to me, treat me like a human being. They're walking by with a box of leftovers where they just hand it to me without me fucking asking for it. The people with the tracks, the people counting on the census, the police walking up on you. Spent all my time in jail, not because I'm some master criminal, dude. It's because the cops would roll up on me and I was mad. I was like, I don't have any dope, I don't have any warrants. What the fuck you want today? And I get my ass beaten, tased, and CS gas, and go to jail, and blah 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 blah. I guess being autistic asshole, state sponsored violence. Like I never even caught a real assault charge. I caught city assault twice. I think it was both with my dad, who would always get bucked with me physically and then call the cops on me. And I got all that expunged. I got certified peer counselor, agency affiliate counselor, and Excelsior. I worked there for 5 years, but the first 18 months I worked there, I didn't have keys to the door. I had to be escorted with other kids because I wasn't cleared. Because it took me 18 months for me to get all my records from all these places and for the backlog for DSHS to fucking do all that shit. 18 months Excelsior paid to have another person occupy with me, but I got to see and learn from all these people. And for me, the first 6 months I was like, is this real? This is insane. This doesn't seem like a cool thing. Do I even have a job here? There's this weird lady who shows up every day, never before 11, and I'm getting here at like 9 sharp. And most people don't shuffle in until like 12. And then, like, fucking at about 3 p.m., she says, okay, everybody, bye. It's just me and this one chick, Adrian, sitting there, right, until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Is this real? Is this like a thing that's fucking happening? Is this a thing that's fucking happening? And Adrian Chanel trailer, Adrian, who is married to Adrian, his kid's name is Adrian, and ex-husband's name is Adrian. If you thought there's no such thing as God or providence with a capital P or divinity in the universe, like, make that shit up, right? Anybody? Oh, it's funny. I used to be, like, a lot of people might know me as an angry guy, but ever since October of 2021, I have not been angry about much of anything at all, dude. Because of my new employment, having Taylor gotten in the house and things finally were like going well between us relationally, and she was starting to kind of believe that maybe things were gonna be okay. And the whole, like, is this actually a dream thing gonna wear off? We had gotten to a much better agreement, and what honestly it was, I posit, obviously, I would have to collect more data points, have peer reviewed evidence, see if the Gottman couple wants to come by and visit and do a clinical study. But I think that things got better between us just because we had that much more fucking square footage between us. You know? We weren't angry with each other as often. We were collaborating. We were working on stuff in the house. Like, things were going well. And I'm really kind of thinking that if Taylor ever had a weed pen in her life, because I'm bankrupt, I don't have a pot of piss in or a window to fucking throw it out of, and I spent $50 at the legal weed store, which is legal. And if people in FOSUP want to say, you relapsed, homie, well, guess what, dude? Let's keep track of my marijuana expenditures over the next year, and we'll see that they are far less than me losing out on months of work and going to the psych hospital on the Involuntary Treatment Act, and probably cost less than the prescriptions at the pharmacy for Depakote and Saffris. Though the Adderall is still going to be necessary, I'm probably not going to have to fill the Xanax again. So, and I remember something I really loved was we had, I think that might be farther down on here, right? Oh, my poor. Okay, let's dive into this. Let's do a deep dive. Zoom. So I'm going to provide commentary here, and the thing is, I need people to know when I'm saying this. These are facts I'm stating. Autistic people don't communicate like to establish hierarchy or validity. They communicate for facts. You poor baby. My last month has been pretty fucking shitty, homegirl. I left my son without his belongings, and I'm going to highlight here, I think. Well, all his belongings intentionally. So what I'm going to do here, just to fucking, you poor baby. We're going to organize this somehow. Oh, I have to sign into my MFA token. Oh, fuck yeah. Raw hits. Oh. Another joke. Steal your belongings, they'll destroy your belongings. This is gonna take a minute. Mm-hmm. Uh, oh my God. God, I wonder how fast it takes the sign to get up now. That's so yes. Yes. Ah. I have to go inside a minute. And then we have to be more quiet. Bingo, bango, Bob's Rifle. This is the new computer. I signed into Google with the MFA, so come and get me, motherfucker. Come and get me. Oh, I even have the fucking Trust TV backup and the backup of the GPG key, so I can actually make sure that my commits on GitHub are verified. Does that make me a gorgeous, gorgeous girl? I don't know. I'm not a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. I'm going to what would I do that to me? Make it download here. Download. Oof. I hate the Microsoft Store. Maybe it's better. It's on some Android. I miss Windows 10, but I'm really looking forward to getting back on that Linux desktop. Get it down. Get it, motherfucker. We can hack the Gibson, hack the planet, fam. I need it. I really gotta pee. Make a cup of tea. I think that's that. That's that. Ooh. Ooh. Because you never had, but you never told me that was the thing about you. I literally thought you told me. I'm so sorry. Ooh, Windows Terminal. Open that. Are we still streaming? We're still live. I already have the scroll. Okay. There we go. Oops. Okay, so there's that one. What else do we have? WSL. Do we have any? Mm, I think that takes a reboot. I'm not gonna go down that road right now. No. Get for Windows. Well, we're still streaming on all of our services. So many people watching. I don't even recall exactly what we're trying to do, but we're getting there. Oh yeah, trauma. We're trying to pull down this guest. Yeah, this guest. We're going to raw. Raw. And it's Windows user.
I don't do this enough to remember it. Git config. Oh, God damn it. I don't need that. Oof. I'm on medical leave right now too, so this is me working through some stress with this relational trauma. Because the relational trauma is continuing. So let's see if we can apply technical skills to the relational trauma. God damn it. Not for sure merges. I hate this shit. So maybe I should just get. What's up, babe? I'm recording something right now, just so you know. We already know that one on the internet. I'll get you two for it. We don't need setup. We already ran setup. Command. Maybe we can over here. Oh, make a new one. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I gotta get power line. Windows power line souls. And I'm an L3 in a place that only goes up to L5, and obviously, just getting back into it after a month, but the amount of what it takes to everybody's like, get into tech, get into tech. It's not all fun and fucking games, man. Highlight fonts, get a page, font to download. Yeah. Sure, we fun if this is interactive and people can ask me questions. Oh, extracts. Oh. Mm. Mm. Function like on. Get it. Come on. 5.7 for Microsoft with the seal. That's good enough for me, fam. I'm never going back to the Microsoft ecosystem ever again. Like, it's a hard no for me now, but I used to be good enough to be able to bounce it off different servers. Yeah, sure. So I should just go back to that. And any key to close terminal. Server time throw. Exception. Huh. Run debug. Yes. Oof. I think that this was an unfortunate workaround. I think you have to control click in. So Rosa's administrator. Forget oops. Yes. Oh, this might be helpful. I'm not authorizing that extension of VS Code to HashiCorp. That's just for my own thing. I do not want to ever fuck up a work repository. Oh dear God. Please don't ever ask me to do that. Okay, so now I should be able to get. You're giving me a hug on camera where the whole internet can see it. What? I told you I was recording a thing. Oh, I'm not recording a thing. I'm sorry. You don't need to be sorry for anything. That's why you have fully informed consent that all of the internet can see this now and forever and for all time, but nobody's gonna watch it. No, I don't want it. If you want me to stop that, I would rather interact with you. Yes, give me a moment. Just 1 moment. Ooh, 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 oof, oof, oof. We're gonna stop right now.